You're watching Act One. Act One stands for a Canadian take on news events. I'm your host, Gordy Canuck, and on my channel, I talk about things that are going on both here in Canada and around the world, as well as whatever else might happen to be on my mind at any particular time. Sometimes I share a joke. I talk a lot about my Christian faith as well. But in this video, I want to share some news that you will not find on any of the mainstream media outlets. And this needs to be filed under the heading of Fiction is Stranger Than Fact. So, what is the news? A Montreal area dog breeder is going to be introducing for the first time in Canada, and maybe even perhaps the first time anywhere in the world, gender fluid, non binary, transgender puppies. Now, this largely ignored story was picked up by the Canadian Satirical News Network, or CSNN for short, by their Quebec region reporter Jean-Francois Plein de Merde. And here is the story as reported by CSNN. Uh, a recently launched Montreal area business is poised to take on the world of dog breeding with something new and progressive. A company by the name of Puppies Without Pronouns, or Chiots Sans Pronoms in French, they recently launched and will soon be offering gender fluid puppies in the marketplace. Now, parents of transgender children are celebrated for their progressive attitudes, for their openness and willingness in accepting whatever gender reality their children wish to proclaim and express. But not everyone has kids. And there are tons of parents out there with grown children who missed the opportunity to free their offspring from the tyranny of socially constructed gender norms. So, into the fray, Puppies Without Pronouns. The owner is Maladie Mentale, and she is ready to take the dog breeding world by storm. Maladie, again, her name Maladie Mental, identifies as a cisgendered woman. That is to say, that she identifies with the gender she was assigned at birth. And she's quoted as saying, I missed the chance to proclaim a different gender identity. I'm in my 50s now, and the world was so incredibly harsh and mean when I was growing up. And when I was raising my son, things still hadn't progressed. I raised a boy who's in his 30s now as a boy because that's just what you did back then. When asked how people are to refer to the puppies she's raising, she replied, and it's quote, instead of he, him, or she, her, these pets will simply go by pup or puppy, and then when they mature, by dog or doggy. She goes on to say, no more good boy, good girl. Instead, it will be good puppy or good dog. And that's why I branded the business as Puppies Without Pronouns. Canines are already gender fluid to begin with, Melody said. Nobody can identify a dog's birth gender without lifting a puppy up and looking underneath. And now that intrusive and disrespectful behavior is no longer required. She went on to say that, given the fact that it is now widely accepted that the presence or absence of a penis has no bearing on gender identity, that it's time to extend this progress into the world of pets. When asked what types of dogs she'll be offering for sale, Madame Mental, was thrilled to announce that her puppies will likewise not be constrained by the colonial concept of breed. And it quotes her as saying, I have a puppy that previously would have been identified as a Great Dane, but this dog's identity is far different. It projects the identity something more like a Yorkshire Terrier. Already, Puppy is trying to get into spaces that it is too big for. And Puppy is 6 months old now and weighs over 100 pounds, but Puppy likes to sit on people's laps just like the small dog that Puppy is. And she goes on to say, I'm working with a veterinarian and we are exploring surgical options like removing part of the puppy's leg bones once full size is achieved so that Puppy can outwardly express the breed identity of Puppy's choice. And she goes on to say that medical science is doing great things to allow people to live out their truth. Now our dogs can experience that same benefit. It should be noted, though, that being progressive does not come cheap. A non binary transgendered puppy is going to set you back $5,000. That is, if you come to Maladie's breeding operation to pick up your bundle of progressive joy, um, and more if the puppy has to be shipped. Madame Mental is only just getting started. This Quebec entrepreneur has thoughts of franchising the business in the future, with expansion possibly to the United States in the years to come. And then it quotes her as saying, I don't think it would work in the US right now with Donald Trump in office, but I believe things will turn. I'm already in talks with a couple in Portland, Oregon about establishing a West Coast presence in the US. And when asked how she would be promoting the business, Melody said she's looking to take out ads in industry, kennel type magazines, kennel club, that kind of thing. The slogan being considered will go something like this: raise your social credit score with a non binary, gender fluid trans puppy. Imagine the joy of taking your furry friend for a walk and being asked, is it a boy or a girl? And being able to proudly display your virtue by announcing that you're not raising your dog according to outdated and regressive norms that no longer have any place in our modern world. I was just, this is the reporter, was just asking Melody Mental about the challenges of identifying which dogs to use for the actual act of breeding when the dogs are gender neutral, but the interview was cut short. A mob of about a dozen people with unacceptable views showed up to her location to protest. And while I wasn't able to clearly make it out, the reporter writes, I believe that one of the protesters was sporting a racist tattoo. So that's this episode done. Thank you for watching, and you're welcome to share your thoughts in the comment field below. Would you be willing to fork over $5,000 for a non binary, gender fluid trans puppy? And again, thanks for watching my channel. And again, it is called Act One, which is short for a Canadian take on news events. And if you enjoyed this content, smash the like button. And if you want to follow the station and be notified when new content is being uploaded, then you simply need to hit the bell. And I also host live streams on Sunday and Wednesday evenings. Sunday nights is a look at the news of the previous week, while Wednesdays is an examination of passages in scripture and trying to apply them to this crazy, insane, upside down world. So, again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back. Take care and God bless.